Hey there. So, I wanted to show you some different strategies for finding out about companies that you might want to work for. Um, we're going to use four basic strategies: looking at business lists, looking at company websites, looking at LinkedIn, and business news, which is just really a bonus in case you want to go there. So, to find lists of companies, one great way to do that is to look at the lists that chambers of commerce of different cities put together. So, I'm going to give you an example. Albany has a chamber of commerce, and if you Google it, the website for the Albany Chamber of Commerce is actually called everythingalbany.com, and it has a directory here which lists all the companies that are members of the chamber. So you can, for example, say you were interested in working in construction. You can click on the construction companies, and here are a list of different kinds of construction and housing related companies that are in Albany. You'll notice it's a pretty wide selection. So an example would be, this is an architecture firm that I've placed interns with before. And let's see what else we have here. Marvin Collins Construction is a local company. The East Bay Paint Center has a lot of entry-level jobs. And you'll meet construction contractors if you're working there. So this is a way of getting a list of maybe targeting a company, finding a company. And there are chambers of commerce in Emeryville, in Berkeley, in Oakland, and all of these have some kind of listing, and you can check those listings. So another strategy for finding lists of companies is to look at Google Maps. So let's say you were interested in working in electronics repair. It's one of the jobs that we've talked about with a couple different folks. This is what happened when I did a Google map of computer repair or electronics repair in Berkeley. All these companies came up, and then you could focus in on a couple of companies and research them more. I've actually found a lot of interesting businesses in Albany just by sort of going deep and staring at these maps. One company that I found that way was, I found out that Goo Manufacturing, the company that makes goo gels and goo bars for athletes and things like that to eat while they're exercising, is actually based right here in Berkeley, and they have their manufacturing company in this neighborhood. So tooling around in this neighborhood in Berkeley, where a lot of businesses, manufacturing, research companies are, and just looking closely block by block, I've actually found a lot of companies that way. But the easiest thing is just to Google the type of company you're looking for and then go deeper. So going back to our list, we've talked about chambers of commerce, talked about Google Maps. Another resource for you is the San Francisco Business Times, which is a newspaper. It's actually a national publishing company, and this is their local paper. This is the one that we have the hard copies of in class, and you've probably looked at. But I wanted to point out that they have this online interface. You guys cannot access some things because of a paywall, but if you find something interesting, let me know, because we do have a class account and I can get you out around the paywall. So on their website, you can see that they have this list of industries and topics, and you could think about investigating an industry a little bit more. Let's see, one that I looked at was technology. So obviously lots of tech companies in the Bay Area, and there's going to be a list of news articles here. But every once in a while you will catch an article that has a list of companies. It'll say, like, for example, if I focused on startup within the tech company listing, I might notice that there are a couple lists of startup companies who just got funding, things like that, and that might help you get an idea for a company that you're interested in targeting. So they do have these things called lists, which are actually like top 10 lists of various kinds and top 50 and top 100 lists. These are harder to get at without the subscription. But if you come across one that you'd really like to see, let me know and I will track it down for you. So the goal of looking at all these lists is to come up with the names of one or two companies that you might be interested in going further into. Once you've got the name of a company, then you're going to go to that company's website. Something that people don't think about websites is just where to look. So this is Trader Joe's, which employs a lot of entry-level student jobs in grocery business, and maybe you're interested in getting that kind of a job, so you would want to look at their website. Within the website, if you come to this website and you're just coming to it as a customer, you're going to see all of this. So how do you find sometimes they'll have a careers thing right up here. Sometimes you'll have to look and see, maybe they'll have about, and then underneath about the company, they'll have the careers section. Sometimes they won't have a career section at all. In the case of Trader Joe's, they do really have a clearly marked career page. And so here's what you're looking for. In general, we want to see what kinds of things the company says about itself when it's talking to potential employees. So notice how it says, they're interested in creating an outstanding customer experience. That's going to be a set of words that we're going to want to make show up in your resume if you're applying to a job at Trader Joe's. And you can see also over here, they say looking for hardworking, fun people with a passion for food. These are words and phrases that we're going to want to make sure show up in your resume if you're targeting a job at Trader Joe's. So this is how we learn how to tailor the resume to them. Obviously, you can go through here and look at specific job openings and then look at the specific requirements for those jobs. And that will give you even more information about how to target your resume. The thing that this kind of a website is not doing for us is telling us the name and contact information of a person that we can talk to. This website is aimed at getting you to apply online and submit your resume, and then that resume is going to go to an anonymous human resources person, and you may not hear from them or you may hear from them, but you're kind of at their mercy. This is not something we really want. So we're going to do that process if you're really interested in a job at Trader Joe's, but we're also going to try to find the name of the manager of the local store. They're in this kind of a website, they're actually trying to keep you from finding out that information. So how do you do it? Old-fashioned way: call up the store, ask for the manager's name. That's going to work. And you don't have to explain why you want it. Just ask for the manager's name. And once you've got it, then you can use that information to bring your resume by in person or to send it in directly to them, because you always want to have a direct contact at the company, even if that's not the way they want you to apply. You can apply the way they want you to, but you also want to target somebody who can help you make sure that you actually get an interview. A different kind of a website, a smaller company. This is Daniel Winkler Real Estate, which is a company here in Albany. So here, they don't have careers up here or anything like that, and you're not going to find that because it's a tiny company and they find all their employees by word of mouth. But what you can notice is the About section. So the About section is always going to be where you want to go. About Us will tell you a little bit about the history of the company, and you're going to see a lot of keywords in here that let you know about what they value and what they think is important, who is the kind of person who they like to work with. Notice also that under About, it has this section called Meet the Team. And so here you're going to be able to tell the names of all the real estate agents who work at that company, and they also have a little bit about the founder, Daniel Winkler. So it's not that hard here to find the names and direct contact information for specific real estate agents. But something that is not obvious from the way they've set up the website is that the most important person in this company is actually the office manager. And that's where you're going to want to talk to me, because I have that person's name and phone number. Yeah. But you can also get around not having a contact like me simply by walking in and introducing yourself. And remember that the people who run the front desk, the secretaries and the office managers, are often the most important people in any company, and developing a relationship with them is really useful. So we have placed interns at Daniel Winkler before, and often they work for the office manager, but sometimes they work directly for a particular real estate agent, helping them with their showings and things like that. So let's see what else. We have talked about how to use the company website, and we have talked about how to find a list. Suppose you are trying to find a particular person at a company. Another tool that you can use is LinkedIn. So for my LinkedIn exercise, I thought about that company I mentioned to you, Goo Labs, which is called Goo Energy Labs. And if you type them into the search box on LinkedIn, you'll see that a lot of companies actually have a company page on LinkedIn that tells you a little bit about their company and the things that are going on there. So if you click on About, talks about what they do and how they got located in Berkeley and things like that. If you click on Jobs, they may have current jobs open, but again, that's not the way most people find jobs, and very few of the real jobs that are open are actually listed in a place like this. More importantly, you could look at the people who are in that company, and so this is kind of interesting. They have statistics about the people who are on LinkedIn and who work for that company, about where they went to school, about where they live, and that's kind of interesting. And then they have a long list of folks who are there. You can see from my page that I actually have a contact with someone at Goo. Tell you how I got that contact. I looked at a list of employees at LinkedIn, and I saw that this person had a job that suggested to me that they might be interested in connecting with people in the community. And I reached out to them via LinkedIn and said, I would like to introduce you to some of my students and maybe get a tour of your company. So that's a contact I developed by pushing into the company. So if I was you and I was thinking about maybe getting an internship at Goo, and I thought maybe I was interested in, I talked to a couple of you about the idea of supply chain management. I might put in the search box, Goo Energy Labs, and then supply chain. That's the whole process of figuring out how to buy, what all the products that they need to buy to make the things that they make. And so here I'm seeing a list of 7 results of employees who work on something related to supply chain, ranging from like inventory control manager, food production professional. This is going to be, kind of a lower level job, all the way up to VP of operations. This is going to be a higher level person. Usually when I'm talking about trying to target someone at the company, I want someone in a mid-level job that has a little bit more time and is less likely to be overwhelmed with requests, but more likely to be able to talk in a general way about the company. So I would look, for example, at the inventory control manager. In my LinkedIn page, you can see that I have a connection with this person, or a distant connection with this person. In your pages, that won't be true, but it's okay for you to tell me the name of someone you're interested in afterwards, and I'll see if I can find a connection. And of course, this is what's going to happen as you build your LinkedIn page over your lifetime, is that you'll have more and more connections. But not having a connection is no reason why you can't reach out to this person and ask them to tell you a little more about their job and how they got it. But you can also just look at their page and see that these are the kinds of operations and supply chain management jobs they've had before. This is the kind of degree that they got. So look, they don't have an MBA, they just have a BA. This will tell you a lot about how you might get a job like that. So if you're not actually going to reach out to this person, we can still learn something about how we might design a resume that in our imaginations targets this company by looking at her page. So coming back to our list, we've talked about reaching out to chambers of commerce using Google Maps, using the San Francisco Business Time, using company websites, and using LinkedIn. And these are the main tools that I want you to use. But if you feel like you have a little extra time, you could also think about following a company and trying to find out some more about what's happening to it in the news. So I'm going to go back to the San Francisco Business Times homepage. And in their search bar, so under news, or here's the search bar, I'm going to type in the name of a company. So let's go with that, GU Energy Labs, for example. And in this case, not coming up with very much business news about GU Energy Labs, just this article from 2016 that has some data. It's going to be probably an article about someone getting a new job there. But let's try another one. Let's search for the business. This is one that was started by an Albany student, Quizlet, which is based in San Francisco and now has offices around the world. Here you go. There is the news about things that have happened at Quizlet. From this news, you can get things like the name of the CEO, but you can also get some information about how they're growing, about what their challenges are, about what's going wrong and what's going well for them. And that might help you if you were actually going to be able to get an interview, an informational interview with someone at the company. It might give you something to talk about. Or it might just give you some background information to keep in your own head that you wouldn't actually raise with them. Either way, knowing what's going on with the company and the news is important. So, research is a rabbit hole. You can spend hours and hours and hours on it. What I want you to do is try a couple of these things and try to come up with 2 companies and try to come up with some information about at least one of those companies down to the level of a person to contact. And the other thing I want you to do is set a time limit. Give yourself an hour on this, and then just tell me what you found in an hour of work. And don't worry about it if you don't have everything. Let's, if you didn't find out very much even, let's show me what you've got, and then I'll help you from there. Thank you so much for listening to this video.